o'clock. I'll call this common council meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk take roll, please?
Braun. Here. Evans.
Here.
Foodie. Here. Grattan.
Here.
Morose.
Here.
Schuster.
Here. First item of business is approve the minutes of the, or approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Brown, second by Schuster. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of the previous meetings. Is there a motion to that effect?
Make that motion.
Motion by Grattan,
Second.
second by Morose. Any further discussion?
Just that we have two sets of council minutes in there, sorry Dick.
That's okay, go ahead, go ahead.
So, December 14th minutes were in there twice, and one was, looked like agenda, but it's really the minutes, and then there's the minutes. Not a big deal, just in there twice.
Okay, so what we are making a motion to approve the
Yeah.
minutes of the previous meetings.
I have a couple issues with the minutes.
Sure.
First, the public safety portion, it says Dave Groton presented the report, I think that was John.
Yeah.
And then resolution 67-2021, it says motion was denied by roll call vote, and it says yes 3, no 3, I think the vote was 2 to 4.
That-
So, just a matter of record.
That would be correct.
You got those, Megan? Those corrections?
Can you repeat the first one for me, please?
Under the reports of officials, the public safety,
Okay.
it says Dave Groton presented
Yep.
the report, it was actually John.
Okay. I apologize, there was a couple people looking at these minutes. So. I apologize for
No,
that.
no
I'll
problem,
make the
it's just-
corrections.
Then was 67-2021, was that 4-4?
It was yes 2, no 3. Or no 4, I mean,
So it was defeated.
yes.
Got it.
Okay. Motion to approve with those amendments.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Grattan, second by Morose. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of the intervening meetings. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion by Schuster,
Second.
second by Evans. Any further discussion or questions on those? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public appearances and citizens' comment. Let the record show there are none. Communications. The only thing I had, there was a thank you from the family of Don Beal, Dave Beal's father, or had passed, and we had a nice thank you for the memorial we sent for that. And that's all I have. Anything from the clerk? Under communications?
No, nothing.
Okay, now we have to approve the payments of bills, checks for $623,842.61. Nothing under vouchers, electronic transfers, $174,305.94. Is there a motion to approve payment of the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Foodie, second by Schuster. Further discussion, questions or comments?
Can you tell me, I sent in request, and Megan, thank you for getting back to me. For the one where we paid you Dodge County Treasurer, you let me know that it was for the West Street project, and the county paid, and then we paid them back.
Mm-hmm.
Did that come along with additional charges for them handling that?
Not that I'm aware of. I did speak with Scott in regards to that, and he said that that is a common practice. So I'm not familiar with that because that was before me. I mean, a majority of the time I see that we paid, contractors ourselves. So I don't really know all of the details behind that, to why they handled it.
Generally, there's a percentage that I know that the county charges to handle your
Administrative.
billings.
Yeah.
Administrative.
Yes, administrative charges, and So that's one of the things I think we need to
And that would add a lot.
educate our people that
Yeah.
have them bill the city directly if it's city work, don't go through the county. It just.
Well,
Okay.
this
I can
was-
follow up
Share
on
the
that.
responsibility.
This was a contract that the county executed on their own with us contributing. So the county paid Northeast Asphalt direct, and I suppose then this was the reimbursement, but what did you say, how did it go? We paid something, then paid us back?
You paid an administrative fee if they invoice us.
No, I'm just asking Cheryl what was your initial question?
My initial question was, why were we paying the Dodge County Treasurer for the West Street
Okay,
project?
yeah,
Because I know from working for the county, there is that administrative charge that comes and it's a percentage of the whole bill. So if it's a matter of us being able to pay our own bills without that charge being that administrative charge, it's fiduciary responsibility.
absolutely. And in this particular case, you know how those
I do.
how the original
Hence
price of the
reason why
project
I
went and
said-
what the finished cost was, so
What's
I
the
would not
deal?
wanna be paying an extra 2% on that, if that's what the point you're making, so if you look into that for us, Megan, I would
Yep.
appreciate it. Any other questions on the checks, vouchers, or electronic transfers? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Foodie,
Hi,
Schuster,
Aye.
Braun,
Aye.
Evans,
I,
Groton,
Aye.
Merle.
Payment of bills have been approved. Reports of officials, I have nothing to report, other than the gas outage or the issues that we had were resolved in a timely fashion. Caused a little bit of inconvenience for the commercial customers in town here that had generators that were backed up when we initially turned off the power. I think Alliant Fire Department and our electric department all worked very well together to get the issue resolved. Biggest complaint I heard was the time it took to make up their mind what they were gonna do. Incident started at 2:30 in the afternoon, and the car was still over the gas line at almost 8:30, if I remember right, whatever, so. Alliant might have to work on those issues or what have you, but as I reported at the electric utility meeting, or at our utility meeting on Monday, or on Wednesday of last week, I said there might be a bright side to this. Maybe they'll get a second feeder into Juneau rather than just relying on one way in. There is natural gas out towards the east of our community, and maybe they'll look to loop that and give us an alternate source when we have an issue like this. Not that it happens very often, but could happen again, so. That's all I've got to report. Clerk treasurer. Tax collection's going well?
Tax collections are going well. The LTE has been extremely helpful. Some of you may have met her. Her name is Kaylee. So she's been, basically, that's her focus, is doing that. Doing some filing, I don't know how long she'll be here. I do plan to post the position hopefully sometime this week. I've had some communications with Sean, so I'm waiting to see if he can send me an ad he previously posted. So she's been, kind of catching some election trainings, kind of just seeing what she can fit into her schedule. Accounts payable we've done, some cash receiving, so it's been going well, so.
She enjoys the work here?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on, written reports. The only one we have is building permit report. You have any questions or comments on that? Say none. Move on to the library report. Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We have
I know you
Jeanette
missed,
from the library.
you missed me last month.
Oh,
You did.
I was on the stage at the community theater.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
oh,
But,
jeez.
yeah,
You have to let us
Yeah.
know about these.
Hollywood did not snatch me up and take me away. Let's put it that way.
We would have rescheduled the meeting had we known.
Oh, y'all would have come and seen it. Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason you were gifted a bag of freshly popped popcorn popped about a half hour ago is this popcorn machine was purchased last summer by 4 different departments. And specifically, we used it for the first time for our outdoor movie on the center field. We do hope to continue those again when the weather's a little bit warmer. But the reason I have this for you now is the point of us purchasing this for more than just a couple movies in the summer is we have movies at the library, and we are bringing them back here in January. This Thursday after school, kids can come and get a freshly popped bag of popcorn while they watch Ron's Gone Wrong. Then following Monday, there's a movie out about Diana, Princess Diana, called Spencer, and that'll be our adult movie night on Monday night starting at 6. And then in the last week of January, another kids movie after school called The Mitchells versus the Machines. All 3 of those movies will have the popcorn fresh, and we're excited to use that, and we're excited to have people back in the library enjoying movies. It has been since March 2020 that those have been put on the back burner, and when we made the decision to bring them back, things weren't looking like they are now. So we'll see how responsive our public is to come back, but we will socially distance, and you know, we're just going to let the public be able to make their decision on if they feel this is safe or not. One thing that I'm excited to tell you about is Hoopla. Hoopla is a digital platform, and I number crunch with my data, but even though circulation of physical materials in the library went down last year because less people were coming to the library because of the uncertainty of our times, our digital checkouts boomed. And not everybody likes digital platforms. I prefer to hold a book in my hand instead of reading it off a screen. But it does give our people resources if they're not comfortable coming into the library. Hoopla is digital. It has books, it has audio books, it has magazines, but in addition to that, it also has movies and music. Those are 2 platforms that were not available to us before. So I have cards for you as council members. If you have a Juneau Public Library card, you can access this for free just by plugging in your barcode and your PIN. If you don't know your PIN, I can reset it for you. I'm just assuming that might be the case. So anyway, check it out. This is something brand new, and we're excited to offer that to our patrons. We're also bringing back a few other children's programs to the library. Lego Lab will start back up. We're doing a winter reading challenge. Our story times are now back in person. That started in November. And Chief Beal actually was our guest reader on Monday, along with one of his new officers on the force. Last but not least, I'll wrap it up. On Thursday, February 3rd, you're going to want to mark your calendars. Mr. Lincoln is coming to the library. He looks like Lincoln and is so educated on the life of Lincoln. He has been presented in almost every state in the United States. And I personally got to see him at the Wade House at a Civil War reenactment weekend and realized just how awesome he is. This is a program geared towards children about 6 years old and up, all the way to adults. He will present, his title is portrayals of President Abraham Lincoln. And he will present, and then he'll have a Q&A. I do have the Farm Bureau Women Homemakers Group also working on a fun dessert option for those that stick around during the Q&A. So we're getting the whole community involved in bringing Mr. Lincoln all the way from Ohio, that's where he resides, to Juneau to present this. So it will start at 5:30, go until 6:30, and then that Q&A will wrap up then by 7. So, thank you for your time. Enjoy your popcorn.
Any questions for Jeanette? Thank you. Next committee report, Plan Commission, David.
Plan Commission, we did meet. We had guests from 2 different areas of town. Matt and Katie Lindemann came in to visit, and what they were doing is the property to the west of them, there's 2 lots, and they're all 3 of them are 80-foot lots, so they're non-conforming. And the neighbors sold half of the middle lot to them and adjoined the other half of the middle lot to their property, so we have 2 conforming lots that are larger than what they were, and then Lindemans will be able to build a garage on that property is what their plans are. That was on Center Street. Then we had Jennifer and Jeremy Hildebrandt from 169 South Main Street, and they approached us for what would the city want or do with an empty lot. They're thinking of moving the house out of town and abandoning the lot. So we told them that the utilities would have to be abandoned within a year of removing the house, along with the other costs that would be involved for ensuring that there was no damage to curb gutter in the street. And they're looking at whether they want to spend that kind of money or not. It's going to be very costly for them to move that large brown house. That was our meeting.
Property in question is the one that's kitty corner from the Quick Trip, the Lindemann house, which is a huge house. And they're looking to take it all the way towards rural Columbus someplace, so. Yeah, any overhead lines would have to be dropped. We pretty much told them that any cost involved by our utility commission would have to be covered. They had some idea that the city might be interested in the lot. Pretty much told them there'd be no interest in that. Their other option was, rather than abandoning all the utilities, because they have to be abandoned according to our service rules out to the main, which is under 12 inches of concrete on Highway 26, they would have to either do that, or they would have to build another structure and utilize those utilities on that lot. So I'm thinking that the husband and wife team aren't in totally agreement with this. I'm thinking the husband's gonna win out on this because I think the costs are gonna be way too much. But they were very cordial, and we were very cordial with them too, but kind of put it on the line that it was pretty much gonna be cost prohibitive to be able to, no matter how much they love that old house. We did agree with them that that house would be better in a rural property, rural setting someplace with a larger lot, not 15 feet from Highway 26 on 2 sides, so we did agree with them on that. So we'll wait to hear back if they plan on. They already did have a professional mover come in and said it could be done, but they were talking about taking off dormers on the 2nd floor and everything else. So a lot to be discussed before they make that decision. So anything for David on Plan Commission? Finance Committee?
We did not meet.
Personnel Committee?
Personnel Committee did meet. We accepted the letter of resignation from the deputy clerk. We also authorized Megan to hire LTE while we advertise and fill that position. And we also discussed the sunsetting of the COVID policy. And so, I don't know, you recall the COVID policy was authorized March 23 of 2020. And there is no longer a requirement for the city to provide this time off. We also got some figures from City Hall about how many hours have been utilized in the last 2 years, although more hours have been utilized under this policy, in the last, since the first of the year, because quite a few staff members actually either have had it, had symptoms, have been exposed. So it's continuing to be utilized. And the committee recognizes that this is a challenging time to sunset this because, of course, COVID cases are high. But we also know that most people have sunsetted this, this to the employees. So I did meet with the department heads today. And they have the same concerns that, right now, COVID cases are peaking and we're sunsetting this at a time when cases are moving up. And they also expressed concern that without this policy, will staff members come in sick and spread this. Now, they could spread anything, right? I mean, they could come in with any common flu and spread it, and we all know how that goes. But the city does provide sick leave for this purpose, but that is their concern that we, of course, have very small departments, and they could come in sick instead of staying home because they have to use their own time versus this COVID time. We did talk about, waiting the 30 days past if it gets approved. Waiting 30 days past this so that maybe the peak of the COVID, at least this strain of COVID, might have come down. And also give anybody who might be on the fence yet about a vaccine, if they believe a vaccine will keep them safe from getting sick, they certainly can still exercise that in the next 30 days. So that is, that was our discussion. And before I can move for the resolution, and if it gets seconded, we can have some further discussion. So I will do that. All right, Resolution 1, 2022. Resolution to approve the sunsetting of the City of Juneau COVID-19 plan and procedure adopted March 23 of 2020. Whereas the Personnel Committee has reviewed the City of Juneau's COVID-19 plan and procedure, the committee was informed that the city receives no funding for COVID time off. And whereas city staff are provided sick leave and in their benefit package to be utilized for such an illness, and whereas the Personnel Committee recommends to approve sunsetting the COVID-19 plan and procedure 30 days from the approval by Common Council. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 11th day of January 2022. I would move for passage of Resolution 1, 2022.
Motion by Morose, is there a second?
I will second that. I do have a question though in regards to resolution numbers. Do we start resolution numbers over at this point in time in the year or not until April 1st? I think that resolution number is going to be wrong.
Oh, then that's my mistake, because I thought it was 1.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's a good catch.
Doesn't change until after the election happens for the new year.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of a small point, but.
Right.
No, that's fair, because I thought it was number 1, so we will.
It's all good.
We will make that correction.
Yeah, the annual meeting, the third Tuesday.
That's a good.
Motion by Morose, second by Braun, for resolution to be numbered correctly. Any further discussion?
So what were some of the COVID plan and procedures that they won't, the workers won't have now?
So if you've been exposed, right, you might stay home, right? Somebody in your family or somebody you met with, whatever, came down with COVID. So, you would stay home and the city would pay you. You didn't have to take your sick leave. Now if you get exposed, I also provided the most recent COVID, the CDC regulations. So if you get exposed, if you're vaccinated, it goes one way. If you're unvaccinated, then you're supposed to stay home 5 days, right? So now the staff members will have to use their own time. So that brings up the concern, will they come to work knowing that they've been exposed? They may or may not have COVID. So that's something we'd have to live with. And
So they were being paid before, were we getting any funds
Well,
for that, or?
No,
They were supposed to,
no.
but they never
Never.
got, it was supposed to be a refundable thing, but
Right.
we were not,
For some
it ended up for
reason.
some reason that we were not able to be
The
refunded for
non-funded.
it.
It was only
Yeah, I know, I didn't know
refundable
if that-
for
that was now
emergency,
or
fire,
before.
police.
Okay.
From the guidelines that we were given. It was only refundable for those, not for the city as a whole. But we as a city as a whole, and you had to have a certain amount to be able to get refunded. Well, it didn't hit our fire emergency, government, that type of thing. So we could not get reimbursed for it. But the city continued to pay our employees under our resolution there, this is what we were going to do. And now it's come to the point of, okay, is it time that we sunset it? Do we continue? How long do we keep going with this?
You're perfectly within your legal rights to do this, and you'll save ultimately some money by doing this. Like you said, the risk is maybe people show up when they shouldn't be showing up to work. But you've done this now for 2 years, so
yes,
probably is time to
we have,
sunset it, in my opinion.
there was a
but
fair amount of hours that the city has
Yeah.
funded through this.
Sure, it's a significant expense.
We took
Yeah.
the precaution of seeing how we have small staff departments or small numbers in each department. We took the precaution of sending people home when they weren't sick, just for the precaution of we wouldn't wipe out the whole department. So we'd
Mhm.
only have like the department head coming into work while the other three that were perfectly healthy stayed home and got
Mm.
paid. And didn't lose any sick time either, so I think we treated them pretty doggone
You
well.
treated them really well.
Was part of this plan also, did it include allowing people to work from home?
If their job, I believe librarians, the library staff could.
We logged, according to Pam, separately. If we were able to log hours from home, we logged that, and we were able to work from home. Now that's because whatever quarantines or cases, positive cases, they weren't dramatically detrimental. Our staff still had energy. You can't predict.
Right, I mean,
What-
if you have COVID, you could.
Yeah, if you're,
The
yeah.
severity.
The severity is
Mhm.
such that.
But my expectation to them as a department head was, if you're not symptomatic, but you were exposed, the expectation is you're logging your hours from home. And they watch training tutorials so anything that was, submitted from the library anyway, they worked those hours.
Some did, some didn't.
And that's it,
Utilities did
our job
Oh, no, I
is
understand.
things that.
Depends on the nature of your job.
not. Exactly, but from our numbers, when we looked at those numbers, that was one of the things, it's like, wow. It's like, yeah, that's because many of our utility, we only had 2 on, 2 off, and they didn't work during that point in time,
Yeah.
so.
So if we eliminate this or sunset this plan, they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. They'd have to come into work.
Or use their
To
sick
get
time.
paid.
Or use
their own
their-
sick
and
time.
you
Or
use
use
their
their
own
sick
for
pay.
vacation.
Yeah, but I mean, we wouldn't have folks working at home.
Would it be allowed? That's a good thing though, if you are on the fence, if you should be quarantined or not.
I think if
Should
you had
they be allowed to
if
work
you had
from
a
home?
clerical position that was 100%
Well, yeah, you
clerical, I
can.
think it could be.
Not all positions would be able to do it, but.
Right.
Yeah, but is it
That's my
An
question,
option.
is that part of this, COVID plan that allows them to be able to do that?
That's a good point.
I
That
think
was
that could
not-
be addressed as an ad needed or basis, you know. I know Nick did some record keeping at home and did some map work and stuff like that and, record keeping of inventory and stuff he was able, but I'm sure it wasn't the full day, but at least he made an effort, but he's a salaried employee.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't know, it's the type of thing, I agree with you, I think, the clerical, like Megan, if she got exposed, I mean, she could effectively take a computer home and do her job at home and what have you, so I would think if we sunset this, we still should leave that option open, and it'd be for review and
Did-
approval
I don't
by,
even know, do we address work at home in our policy, or is that something we just leave up to department heads and the mayor at this point, or?
I think it's kinda as needed basis, you know.
So it wasn't part of the policy?
It was.
No, it wasn't.
It was not
No,
part of
no,
it.
no, the answer to
It
the
was
question
not
is
part
not
of the
policy.
resolution, it
That
was
was-
not part of
Okay.
the
Mhm.
program either, no. Some people did work at home,
Yep.
and I think it's a good thing, but not everyone did. And in reality, it's not in our policy right now, but if someone were to call in and say, hey, I'm sick, but can I work from home, or I'm not feeling the best, I think that still is left up to a supervisory position, because it's not in our policy book. So I think even here, those of us sitting here don't know if or when that happens, if it's happening now.
Okay.
At time of your discussion with the committee, do we have anybody out on,
We have several people out now.
okay,
I mean, Chief Beal, on his, like, several of his staff. We have the rec director, waiting for a test back. There's been several people.
Utility.
I know we had one DPW guy out suspected with it, but I thought he was cleared.
Right, but he was still out with these symptoms, the same symptoms as COVID.
But at this point in time, they got paid.
They got
under the
paid.
policy.
Yeah.
They got
So
paid for this
they're-
policy, they got paid.
Right,
Everything, they're still under the policy, because it's still in place.
Yep.
for 30 days.
Right now, it's
Possibly, right.
depending on
Depending on what,
Correct.
yeah.
what we do here.
Yeah, it's not, this pandemic is not over. Now, you hope that the next strains will be better equipped to deal with each and every one. If the federal government or the state government or the city, feels that we have to come back with something different, we always can come back with something. That's always out there. Yeah, might people come to work sick because they don't want to use their sick leave? That's true, but that does happen
Yeah,
anyway.
it happens with any disease or any
Um,
sickness,
It's-
right?
You would hope that if you see how serious this can be in particularly vulnerable adults, with health conditions, you'd hope that they wouldn't do that, because you do not know if your coworker has contact with someone that has a very vulnerable health condition, and you don't want to bring it to that next person. So yeah, we hope our staff understands the seriousness and would not bring it to work. But I think we just have to have faith that they will make the best decision.
There's a motion second on the floor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Merle,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Booty,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Schuster.
Aye.
Resolution number yet to be named has passed. Anything else for personnel?
No, that's it.
Public safety,
We did not have a meeting.
public works,
We did not have a meeting.
cable TV.
No meeting, and our next one is January 17th, and I have not talked to Bob, because the only item on there is discussion of a new video server, and I thought that was resolved back in October.
I thought so too. Thought he was given authority to go ahead and do it.
So, I'm not sure, we'll have to stay tuned to January 17th.
Very good. CDA, no report. Recreation Committee,
Did not meet.
Utility Commission.
We didn't have a meeting, oh, just kidding.
Wow.
We had a meeting last Wednesday. It was just a short meeting, and I just have a few notes. We, of course, talked about the status of the Sensian contract. Negotiations are still going on, and hopefully a new contract will be in place soon. This really needs to get done to keep on our timeline for the wastewater plant upgrade. We talked a little bit about the gas situation from, was it last week or a week and a half ago or whatever it was. Nick had to shut down the substation on the north side of town for a short time. After they determined that the gas was floating in a different direction, he was able, they called him and he could start things back up. As the mayor said, a few industries had a problem because their generators kicked in and the transition from electricity to generator and back again didn't work quite right. So anyways, that's the industry's problem and not the utilities problem. Nick remained on call until later in the evening when the gas was shut off and it was no longer a danger. During that time, he surveyed the city for streetlights that were not working and found 23 of them. And bulbs have been ordered, but like everything else, there are supply issues and they'll be replaced as they come in. WPPI did a survey of utility customers and there were quite a few requests for some type of social media communication. They're looking into a Facebook page. It would be helpful, it would have been helpful last week during the gas leak. And we also talked about other types of communication systems to notify customers when there is a loss in service. And let's see, the Utility Commission expressed appreciation for everybody's help during the gas leak situation last week. And that's about all I have.
We did talk at our fire department meeting also. We'd always do a critique of all our calls. And I think the biggest thing that I heard as the mayor was the fact that we kind of left the public in the dark. Apparently you have to sign up for this alert system that the county issues, and it's kind of set up basically for landlines. And of course, most people have abandoned their landlines unless they're running a business or something like that. But I heard from a lot of people that they had signed up for it and wasn't alerted. I myself don't recall ever signing up for it. I had like 4 messages on 2 landlines, and then also on my cell phone. And I don't ever recall signing up for it. So I think they're inaccurate in their statements that you have to sign up for this. I don't know how you got on it, but I don't ever recall ever signing up for it, let alone I have a landline at my home, landline at my shop, and my cell phone, and all 3 of these phones were alerted 4 times during this message. But then there were other people that said they didn't get alert at all. So that's something that should be worked out. We're looking at possibly doing it in-house on a utility basis too for any outages that we have, having some kind of dialer or something like that and be able to contact. But the whole problem is, the people are so mobile today and they change cell phones and cell phone numbers and what have you. It's so hard to keep track of where everybody is and what have you. But I think overall it went pretty well. Like I said, the lag time and deciding what was going to be done. There was a point in time where they thought they were just going to leave it go until the next morning when work in the daylight and what have you. So we would have been out overnight, but they elected to pull the plug and they had to go to every house and shut off everybody's gas at their meter.
And then go back to relight.
And then go back to relight. They brought in about 60 people. They brought in private contractors. They brought in We Energy help. It was amazing how organized they were in that aspect. But getting out of the blocks was kind of slow. So anyway, that's about all on that. So could have been worse. Yep, could have been worse.
I got notified on my 386 number because I still have one.
Yeah, there you go.
Before when it was going to go off and then when it was turned on, they called.
Okay.
Yeah, we got notified on our landline
Right.
too, and we never signed up for it.
There you go. Did you ever sign up
So
for
I
it?
don't
No.
know where the
no,
sign up would have been.
I don't know
The
neither.
guy I called up later and was talking about, he said that's, if you had a landline, you got called. It's you that have a cell phone, you're not gonna get called.
Okay.
Because of what's your number, and you changed it last year, well, too bad, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, so if the fire department had that where people had their numbers registered with you for utility use, electrical,
Mm-hmm,
it could be used
yep,
if we had that.
right,
But you still gotta keep them updated.
that's
Correct.
right.
And my customers do that all the time.
Yeah, it's tough, like I said, people flip-flop on cell phones and don't ever seem to think about following up with recording their number with people that have it on file someplace or making them aware of it. And I guess a constant reminder, and we all know that messages on the utility bills aren't very effective as far as getting the word out, but at
People
least,
just don't read these days.
that's no problem, yep.
But, yeah, the city website is probably where a lot of people went. And, you know, maybe we can, but there wasn't much to say, right? I mean, we didn't have a lot of information.
And it
My biggest
changed.
complaint, we didn't allow the public time to prepare. When they were debating this issue, you know, for 4 or 5 hours, and then they pulled the plug on the electric and whatever, well, you still didn't know you're gonna have gas overnight. This would have given the public some time to go and get electric heaters or do something, you know, to help themselves, but.
I was just more worried about the older people that don't have the Facebook and all this that.
Right.
They get them,
Yeah.
that was my only concern is.
Sure.
I mean, there's you can't go house to house, you know, in the middle of the night or whatever, and
No.
tell people, I mean,
No. So.
How did Clearview keep warm?
Clearview, health facilities are required to have an on-site alternate source. So they either have to have diesel
They have a
for their
diesel
backup
generator, yeah.
generator, or they have to have
Okay.
LP. They don't, they're required not to rely on a utility.
Oh.
So their
okay.
generator has to have an alternate source on site, so
Is the jail
diesel,
like that too?
no, jail's running off of natural gas. I guess we don't care if they get cold.
Just learning a lot. eh?
So anything else for utility tonight? No. Seeing none, we'll move on. Any old business? Any new business?
The utility minutes and the personnel minutes, those will be included in the next packet, hopefully.
I didn't get the utility minutes until Friday afternoon, so I plan to put them in.
And personnel, okay.
Yep,
That meeting was held on Wednesday, Jane, rather than the regular scheduled Monday. The utility meeting was
Oh,
pushed back,
okay.
so that's why she probably didn't get them
Okay.
till late Thursday or something.
it was like Friday afternoon. She was waiting for Bob to get the video uploaded, cause I guess her recording didn't work or something, I don't know. Lori let me know, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, new business, no provisional licenses, bartender licenses, but we do have one regular bartender license for 2022, expires June 30th of 2022 for Timothy Yeager. Is there a motion to approve?
No, it's to deny.
There's a,
Nice.
Oh, recommend denial.
so is that information from the police department?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
put glasses on. Well, we don't put a negative motion on the floor, so it just dies for a lack of motion for approval. Right. Any other business tonight? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion adjourned.
So move, second?
Motion by Schuster, second by Grattan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This meeting is closed.